Karen Olegi is our HR consultant and training specialist at DLive. She's a certified HR professional and a certified project manager and also a certified coach. She has extensive experience in HR practice and training and project management. So currently she's working as a managing director and lead consultant at DLive Group. And she also supports ICA Lion Group in staff development programs. So she has previously worked as a HR consultant under KPMG East Africa and Seven Seas Technology. So I'll welcome Karen to offer us the training, to take us through the training. But before that, I just want to encourage you that this is a very interactive session. And we'll want to know you and to know where you come from. I mean, which organization you come from and what you do. So please feel free to share your name and your organization, maybe your position in the chat. And also for us to share more materials regarding the training at the end of the training, kindly share your email address either in the chat or you can message Karen or me directly. So feel free and interact with us in the chat. We'll take questions at the end, so also type your questions on the chat. So thank you. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you so much, Christine, for welcoming me to this session. I am glad that I'm part of it. Just give me a minute. So just to start us off, thank you so much everyone for joining. I am glad that 15 of us have been able to join the training. This is the first open training that we are doing as DLive Consulting Group on developing and sustaining employee engagement in the virtual era. As Kristen has mentioned, this is going to be a very interactive session. We want to share, knowledge share and engage. So kindly feel free to post your questions in the chat section. Feel free to ask questions on the chat section, and even when you're asking questions, kindly you can use the raise hand icon to draw our attention to you so that we can allow you to share your thoughts. However, I would encourage us to mute our devices as long as we are not speaking so that we can be able to have a wonderful session all together. So having said that, thank you, Christine, for that introduction. Yes, I'm Karen Olegi and I'm the lead consultant and trainer at DLive Consulting Limited. So I will share my slides so that we can start. You can follow as I train. There. I believe you can see my slides. Please confirm.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So we will start this brief training. We are going to engage for the next just about 1 hour to see what we can learn and glean from this topic on developing and sustaining employee engagement in the virtual era. And to start us off, this is our outline for the day. We will have a closer look at employee engagement, what it is. We will look at the drivers of employee engagement. We will look at the impact of remote working on employee engagement. We will look at what our role is in sustaining employee engagement. And then, of course, at the very end, we will have a session for questions and answers. So just to begin, we will be relooking or refreshing our minds on what employee engagement really is, and we'll look at a few definitions so that as we carry along, we're on the same page. I know this is a mixed group. We have some people here who are HR specialists, but we have others who are not. So for the sake of those, we shall just give a little background so that as we move along, we are sure that we are talking about the same thing. So what is employee engagement? Engagement is the extent to which the employee is motivated to contribute to their personal and organizational success, and they are willing to apply discretionary effort to accomplish tasks that are important to the achievement of such goals. So what this definition is telling us about employee engagement is, first of all, the provision or the creating of the right environment. That is our job as the organization, to create the right environment and the right conditions. These conditions enable the employees to deliberately give more of their potential. What we mean by deliberately giving more of their potential, the definition talks of discretionary effort. Discretionary effort means that effort or that going the extra mile, going beyond what the job description of the employee stipulates, to be able to deliberately give more of their potential and capability towards achievement of goals. It also talks of the extra mile to contribute to personal and organizational success. Personal success is a very key factor in employee engagement. Why? Because we all want to be somewhere where we are also benefiting. An employee will not engage in an environment where they feel is not benefiting them directly. I know the work of the staff is to give input into the organization so that the organization can grow. But the engagement will only come about as a result of the employee also being able to meet their personal goals, then being able to achieve their personal success, and then contribute to the organizational success. It is the feeling of pride and loyalty when working for an organization and being able to be a great advocate of that organization to clients, to customers, to users, and to the general public. Again, this is a feeling, it's an innate feeling of pride and loyalty to an organization. It is advocacy. Some of us know about the Net Promoter Score. The Net Promoter Score is, when people talk positively about our products to customers. Employee engagement actually talks about the Net Promoter Score of the employees themselves. What do they feel about the organization? What do they advocate for the organization out there? Do they think that it is a good place to work? What do they say about the organization when they are talking to clients? Employee engagement is not merely employee satisfaction. It is not merely employee happiness. Happiness is very short-term and momentary. It could be coming from, external factors like maybe a pay rise. It could be coming from factors maybe like, just a good comment from a boss or recognition. But this is a very temporary feeling, and it does not directly reflect to productivity. It does not directly tie to the willingness of that employee to go the extra mile to contribute to the organizational success. It is not merely well-being. Yeah, well-being is good, but employee engagement is not merely well-being. It is not team building. All these things are good to have, and it is good for us to develop them, but they are only a means to an end. They are not the end themselves. So we ought to understand that beyond just employee satisfaction, beyond happiness, beyond well-being, beyond team building, we need to go the extra mile to ensure employee engagement. Yeah, so all these elements that you're talking about, they will enable engagement, but they are not engagement in themselves. Yeah, they are a means to an end, but we need to do more to ensure employee engagement. So employee engagement is a very innate and strong connection and commitment to the company and its goals that the staff will have. And that commitment will cause them to deliberately give more effort, deliberately give more capacity, deliberately apply their potential to the achievement of the organizational goals. So before we go very far, I would like us to watch this short video and see what we can glean from it about engagement. So I will just share, I will start the video, and I hope you can be able to hear it.
Hello, Karen. I don't think we can hear the video. Can you share the sound? Okay.
When we talk to managers about engagement, they always want to know, why bother with engagement? What's in it for the business? What's in it for me? We tell them it's quite simple. When employees are engaged, they perform better and your business grows. When people are engaged with their work, they're more likely to work hard, get better at their jobs, and stay with you for years and years. Not just stop by for a few months, then take their talents elsewhere. Thank you very much. Research indicates that engaged employees are 87% less likely to leave than disengaged. Engaged people come to work and do their job every day of the week with a smile on their face, not call in sick every rainy Monday. Recent findings show that engaged employees take an average of 2.69 sick days a year. compared with 6.19 days for disengaged employees. Engaged people treat their customers like royalty and tell them how great your organization is. Not just say the things they're paid to say. Engaged people help your business to grow and grow because they share your goals and they're rewarded for caring. And how do we know? Because we've seen the proof in about 100 different organizations. Some managers spend so much time staring at numbers, they forget about their people. Some managers love talking to their people, but they forget about the business. The really clever organizations try to get a balance between the two. We find that organizations where managers talk to their people, listen to their people, reward their people for a job done well, give their people opportunities to learn, and keep their people focused on their goals, tend to succeed and grow faster than the competition, and keep on growing for years to come. We know that engagement drives performance for individuals, teams, and organizations. Contact us to find out how to engage your people.
Thank you so much. I know we have watched that video. So for the next 1 minute, I would like us to just engage. What did we see? What lessons did we glean about employee engagement from this video, and especially on the importance of employee engagement? You can engage in the chat section. I'm not able to see the chat very well, but Christine can help me see and look at the chat. What is it that you were able to see from the video about employee engagement? Anyone can share? Anyone can share what we were able to see or glean from that video about employee engagement? That is, if you were able to see it. I see. Yes, I see comments. I see comments. Thank you so much. I see someone say it's about customer satisfaction. I see someone say it reduces staff turnover. Thank you so much, Tabi. That's very true. I see someone say sales and marketing manager. Oh, sorry. This is the position. Employee retention. Kemboy, thank you very much. Yes. Thank you for those comments. And I concur with you. Employee engagement has its very direct benefits to employee retention. Somebody has mentioned employee retention. When staff are engaged, they don't have a reason to look elsewhere for work. They don't use every free minute that they have to look through job opportunities. Yeah, engaged employees, they turn over less often because they feel part of the company. They are connected to the goal, they are connected to the purpose of the organization, and therefore they find the need to stay. Yeah, there is also a direct link between engagement and productivity. In fact, I can assure you that engagement is the only factor that guarantees us productivity in the organization. Why? Because when employees are engaged, the discretionary effort goes up. We have talked about discretionary effort in the definition. Discretionary effort means that they are willing to give the best of their capability and their capacity to achieving organizational success. They go over and beyond what is written in their job description. They go over and beyond what they are paid to do to ensure that the business actually achieves its outcomes. Customer satisfaction, one of us has mentioned in the chat section. Yes, there is increased customer satisfaction when employees are engaged. Why? Because they feel part of the business and therefore they are able to treat their employees, or rather their customers, as royalty. We have seen that from the video, that engaged employees will treat their customers as royalty, meaning they will give their customers the best service ever. It doesn't matter the shortfalls of the organization. It doesn't matter the mishaps that are happening with the product itself or with the systems that you're using. The staff that is at the forefront facing the customer will give them the best service because they are engaged. And of course, we know when you have happy customers, that means good business for you as an organization. Company reputation and attractiveness. Of course, employees talk about the places that they work, and they relay their feelings about their organizations to their friends and their families. We all do this. We talk about our workplaces to our families, to our friends on a daily basis. What is it that we are saying about the organizations that we work for? When an employee is engaged, they will vouch for their company everywhere. They will talk well of their company, and therefore increasing the brand power of the organization. Remember, your employees are the biggest brand ambassadors, but they're also the biggest brand risk. If your employee is disengaged, they are likely to go out there and say things that are unfavorable to your organization to potential clients, and therefore even those clients who would have reached out to you for business are likely not to do business with you. We all have those companies which we cannot even work for because of the stories that we have had. So company brand, that strong reputation is very important for business. Remember, when it comes to business, brand power is everything. Customers associate with the companies that they like, and hence the need for a very good and strong reputation out there, which comes from highly engaged employees. There is innovation and creativity. For me, this actually is my most important aspect of engagement, in my view. Why do I say so? Because we have just talked about discretionary effort. Discretionary effort is stuff doing that which you have not paid them to do. How many people have a line item on innovation and creativity on their job description? Very few. In fact, in most organizations these days, we have tied innovation and creativity to one department. We have created a department in charge of innovation and creativity, and we have told them your job is to be innovative and creative. What we forget is that innovation and creativity is actually the work of everybody in the organization. And when we talk innovation, I know there is the high end of innovation where people get actually to come up with new products, new services, and new systems. That is the high end of it. But innovation is just small, subtle improvements to our processes, to our systems, to our products. Very small and subtle improvements that eventually are progressive in such a manner that eventually they have overhauled the way we do our things. Now, the mismatch that I find in innovation and creativity is that decisions are made in the boardrooms where the managers and the leaders sit. But decisions require information. Information sits with the operational staff, who are actually your junior level staff. It is the junior level staff that interact with their customers on a day-to-day basis. They're the ones who hear the customer issues. They're the ones who interact with the system. And they know where we have higher levels of bureaucracy. They know where the systems are not working. They know where the systems need improvement. But while these are the people with information, these are not the people in the boardrooms where the decisions are being made. And therefore, there is reason as an organization to have a high level of engagement with your junior level employees, with your operational staff, who will have information and ideas on how system improvements and product improvements can be carried out. The issue on innovation and creativity. And therefore, for me, I find that if your staff are not engaged and hence they are not innovative, your organization is most likely in ICU. Why? Because it means you cannot transform. You cannot change. And right now, change is happening at the speed of light. So if the organization cannot transform at that speed, cannot innovate at that speed, then this is an organization that is ideally on its deathbed. You are losing out on ideas that could steer your organization forward if your organization staff are not engaged. There are employees who do their work, they interact with the systems, and therefore they're able to give you information about systems, about what is working and what is not working. Many of us sometimes we see loopholes in the systems, but we don't talk about it. Why? Because we feel like it's not our job. It's not my job to say that the system is not working. It's for the managers to figure out. That is the voice of a disengaged employee. A disengaged employee will see the loopholes, but they will not state them. They will not voice them out to the management, and therefore the leadership of the organization will be losing out on very important information to carry out transformation and change projects. So of course, all these things, retention, productivity, customer satisfaction, reputation, innovation, they all culminate into financial health and stability of the organization. Other aspects, of course, like lower absenteeism have been highlighted in the video. There are so many benefits of employee engagement, but of course, I have just highlighted a few. There are so many of them, and at a later stage in another webinar, we will be able to be looking at issues of absenteeism and how this affects the organization and so on. And engagement is actually a key factor that speaks to employee absenteeism. We have seen that from the video. So the cycle of engagement is such that great leadership and supportive work environment will give you engaged employees who are satisfied, who are committed, who are proud to be associated with that brand, they are proud to work for it, and they are willing to advocate. Those employees who are engaged, it gives you better individual performance. At an individual perspective, you're getting very good performance from this employee. They're deliberately giving you more than their capability and their potential, and that leads to improved company performance and financial stability. Now, most of us want to see point 4. We want to see improved company performance and financial stability. That's where we want to be at. We want to see point 3, better individual performance. But we are not keen about point 2, the engagement of the employees. We are also not keen about the great leadership and a supportive environment that will eventually bring us to where point 4 is. So what I need to reiterate in this training is that before you see an improved company performance and financial stability, that is going to stem from good individual performance, and that is stemming from an engaged employee, and that is stemming from the environment that we are providing and the conditions that we are creating to ensure that the employee is actually engaged. Yeah, the only sure, sometimes the misconception that we have, most of us in organizations, is that employees work for money. They are driven by salaries. Those of you who have worked for a longer time, maybe beyond 5, 6, 7 years, close to 10 years, you know that salary is not the only motivation to work. In fact, it is one of the least. When you do your research on employee engagement, you will realize that remuneration is actually one of the least. Yes, we need the salary, we need the paycheck to pay our bills, but employee motivation is beyond salary. And again, this is a broad topic that we can debunk another day, just looking at what is actually the proper employee value proposition mix that an organization needs to give to its employees to ensure that they are actually engaged. It is not just about the pay. And that's why we are discussing this topic, so that we can see what are these things that actually keep employees engaged that are not necessarily the pay. They're not necessarily the salaries. I know some of you may have taken even lesser paying jobs. Why? Because you just wanted your peace of mind. Maybe you just wanted to be closer to your children. Maybe you wanted more favorable working hours. I mean, it is actually beyond. It is beyond. Employee engagement is beyond those salaries. So if you're comforting yourself and saying, as long as I pay my staff well, they will never leave, they will continue to be with me, you're certainly wrong, because money is not the answer to productivity. Engagement is. And I can tell you, engagement is the clear pathway to employee productivity and hence financial stability of the company. So that brings me to this slide. If we say money is not the core or the key driver of engagement, then what is? There are many drivers of engagement, very many drivers of engagement, but I have highlighted 8 in this training for the sake of the time that we have, so that we can be able just to look and glean and delve into some of these ones to see what is it that drives employee engagement. Number 1 is the nature and the future of the organization itself. Does the organization look like it will be successful in the future? Does it have integrity? Does it have a good reputation? No one wants to live in fear that the organization they work for may not exist tomorrow because of one reason or the other. Some organizations we work for, they do not uphold integrity. They are cutting corners, and you're there as an operational staff doing things that one day, if the regulator comes to check our operations here, we are most likely going down the drain. There are other organizations which you're not sure about their future. When you look at 2 years, 3 years to come, you don't think that this company will be stable. The more the future of the organization looks secure, the more engaged the staff will be, because they know that they are here for the long haul and this organization is actually a going concern. What is the reputation or the attitude of the organization towards its staff? There are organizations that by nature, they respect their staff and they actually protect the interests of the staff. While on the other hand, there are other organizations that are actually antagonistic to the staff. They seem as though they are fighting their employees. They seem as though they are not on the same side, and yet you expect to see productivity. That cannot work. Staff will be more engaged if the nature of the organization is such that it protects their interests. The leadership and the management of the organization, what is their commitment to the goal? That is the commitment to the goals of the organization. The leaders themselves have to be committed to the objectives and to the strategy of the organization. But beyond being committed, they need to be competent enough to steer the organization, especially through seasons of crisis, like what we are going through right now. through seasons of change. Your employees need to be able to see that this leadership is competent enough to be able to guide us and steer this organization through this season of a crisis and through this season of change. Change, of course, is the only sure thing that we know in life. Even before COVID and after COVID, we were having changes in the organizations that we are working for. Your employees need to be able to see that the leadership of the organization is able to steer, is competent enough to steer this organization beyond the change that they are going through. They need to trust the leadership. Sometimes we can trust the brand, we can trust the company, but we don't trust the leadership. And that means if you're here and you're seated in the leadership of the organization, that means in any capacity of leadership, this issue of engagement also lies with you. It lies with you personally. Can your employees trust you as an individual, as a leader, to steer them through change, to steer them through the seasons of crisis, and to steer the organization to the next level of its success? Yeah. The employee's voice. How much are employees included in decisions? How much do their opinions count? Are they even able to talk in meetings? Are they able to share communication? Are they given the opportunity to engage with the management? I have just said before that the operational staff are the ones who have a lot of information about the organization and what changes can be made. So are they given that opportunity to share, that opportunity to run projects, that opportunity to engage with the management and be able to be part and parcel of the changes and the decisions that are being made in the organization? If your employees are not sharing communication with you, you have reason to be worried. The work itself, is it challenging and motivating? People want work that is challenging and motivating. Nobody wants to wake up every morning just to go to an office to file papers and punch and put things in the locker room. No, they want something that utilizes their skill and utilizes their capabilities. So check into how the match. Yeah, and this I'm speaking mainly to the HR specialists in the room. See to it that your employee skill sets match with the jobs that you're giving them. If the employee does not see a connection between their skill set and the work that they are doing, they are very likely to be disengaged. The team and the co-workers, is there friendliness? What is the team spirit like? Is there cohesion? Is there openness in the way that the team works with each other? And remember, team spirit is guided by the team leaders. So as a team leader, team spirit also depends on you. So don't show preferences and favoritism to your team members, because that hampers team spirit. Treat people equally. Let there be fairness, both real and perceived. Don't have favorites, because by doing that, you will only be breaking the team spirit. Somebody who is working for a very cohesive team is likely to be more engaged than the one who is not working for a cohesive team. The line manager support. What kind of support is the line manager giving? If you're a line manager, how frequently do you engage your staff? Are you fair in the way you treat your team? What is your trust account like with your team? Does your team trust you? Do they know that you care? Line managers have a huge responsibility to play in engagement, because an employee's life revolves around the line manager. We have had time and again where it is said that people do not quit their companies, they quit their bosses. If you are a line manager, remember that employee engagement, you have a big part to play in this, and therefore make sure that you're frequently engaging with your staff, being fair in the way you operate, being fair in the way you treat your team, making sure that your team can actually trust you, having genuine concerns and conversations with your team to show them that you actually care and you're concerned about their well-being. Contribution to the company's goals. Staff need to see that their individual input in the company and their individual efforts directly contributes to the company's success. They want to see that they are part of the bigger picture. They want to see that they are part of the achievement of the organizational success. So even if I am a cleaner, I don't just want to feel as though all I do is to come and clean. I want to feel as though my cleaning impacts the bottom line. My cleaning impacts customer satisfaction, and hence how frequently our customer visit us, and hence how much success the organization or how much revenue the organization is going to make. We need to feel as though we are part of the big picture, and this talks to shared vision. So if you're a line manager, a leader in that organization, you need to ensure that you inspire a shared vision so that your staff can feel part and parcel of the bigger picture in the organization. What are the opportunities for career growth? Yeah, human beings are accustomed to growth. We are not accustomed to being the same yesterday, today, and forevermore like Jesus Christ. We are supposed to grow. We desire growth. We desire to change. We desire to to be better today than we were yesterday, and we want to be better tomorrow than we were today. Some organizations, as well as some managers, are very selfish when it comes to staff growth. They do not invest at all in staff growth. They do not even give an opportunity for their staff to attend seminars, to attend workshops, to attend training out there, even trainings like these ones. And that's why the Live Consulting, we do some of these free webinars. Why? Because there are organizations that will not pay for their employees to go out and learn something new, and learn something new about their skill, new about their technical area, new about interpersonal skills, or even just relating, or even leadership. They don't want to invest in this. Remember, promotions are very hard to come by. Yeah, organizations will not always guarantee promotion, but growth is not only vertically in rank, it is also in skill sets. It is in the things that I'm able to do. It's in my capabilities. So if an employee feels that they are stagnant, they have stagnated in their growth, then they are most likely not going to be able to engage, yeah, as employees. So as a line manager, you're at a good place to be a mentor to your team in matter of development. If you're a finance manager, probably you have already attended these finance certifications, you have done them. You have attended finance workshops and trainings, you have done them. So because you have already gone ahead of your team, why don't you handhold? Why don't you mentor them? Why don't you even direct them to some of these opportunities and tell them, look, there is this course that you can actually do. There is this training provider that is exemplary in the way that they offer training in finance. You will learn from this workshop. You will learn from this seminar. Why don't you reach out to this and that opportunity so that you can grow in your area? So I'll give us a very small exercise. Having looked at those 8 engagement drivers, how do you think remote working has affected each of those? Because remember, there has been changes in the workplace from physical working mostly to remote working, which other people are calling teleworking. And it would be obvious, it would be oblivious for us to think that engagement is not impacted. Remember, the drivers of engagement do not change, no matter the working environment. Whether we are working in a physical working environment face-to-face, or we are working in a virtual environment working remotely, the drivers of engagement have remained the same. I have tried to do a lot of research on the drivers of engagement and just to see, is there any change in what drives engagement right now? The factors are the same, but the workplace has changed. And therefore, some of these drivers, engagement drivers, have been put to the test. Yeah, and we are seeing that in some scenarios and in some cases, we were doing well at employee engagement before the change in the workplace environment. But right now, maybe not so much so. So I would like to ask, looking at these 8, again, you can engage me in the chat section. How can you tell remote working has impacted any of these 8 areas of employee engagement? I will give you a minute or two to type in the chat section, and I hope I can access that. You can pick on any factor and just share with us, how has remote working affected these engagement drivers in your workplace? You know, is the future of the organization certain? Is the leadership committed and competent enough to carry you through crisis? Are you given a chance to be able to voice your opinions? Is your work challenging enough? Are you able to see the line of sight between what you're doing and what the organization's success looks like? Let me see a bit of that. In the chat section. Yeah, if you can engage me, a little bit. I'm seeing some comments from us. What do you think has changed?
You can even raise your hand if you want to contribute.
Thank you so much. What do you think has changed? Has anything changed in terms of the nature of the organization? Has anything changed in your team? How cohesive is your team? How well are you working together then versus now? Yeah, are you able to grow and develop? What are these opportunities of growth and development looking like for you in your organization where you work? I'll give you a minute to type as I take a sip of water.
There's a contribution from Red. I think that is Redemptor in the chat, and also from Mercy. So Red is saying it's been difficult to stay motivated in this season. Mercy Mugo is saying teamwork has negatively affected since employees are not able to interact as they used to while they were working in the office.
Thank you. Thank you so much for those two contributions from the team. And you're very right. It is difficult to stay motivated at this time. It is also teamwork has been hampered, of course, because now we are working virtually. We are not in the same working space, and therefore teamwork has actually been hampered. So yeah, those are very good contributions. Thank you, Mercy and Redemptor, for those contributions. With all these changes, we can see that indeed the organization platform has changed. There is lack of clarity on the direction of the organization. Organizations have become conservative in making decisions. You know, they have put a halt to projects. They have put a halt to market segments that they were actually going after. And right now, most of us are not very clear which way our organizations are headed. We're not sure of the future of the organizations. I have been hearing of a lot of restructurings, of mergers and acquisitions, of people saying, even the leadership, the top leadership of organizations changing, and people are not very sure which way we are going. I've been hearing some organizations saying we are going agile, we will be working agile, and even the employees themselves don't even know what agile working means. Yeah, the commitment and the competency of the leadership. The leadership themselves are losing faith in the decisions that are being taken by the stakeholders. Remember, the shareholders are the owners of the business. So some of them are coming and doing buyouts, they're doing mergers that the leadership is even not confident in. They are no longer accountable for the decisions of the shareholders. Are they able to steer the organization amidst a crisis? We are not sure whether they have that competency. The nature of the jobs, there's a lot of changing dynamics in our jobs and the nature of our roles. What are our performance targets? If you are a salesperson, last year, what were your performance targets in January and what were they by the time the year was ending? How are you selling now versus how you were selling then? Yeah. If you are a facilities manager, right now there's probably even no facility. Yeah. If you are a maintenance person, right now, what are you maintaining? If half the organization is actually away at home and people are actually having difficulty in understanding their own roles and the requirements for their jobs and what their targets, their performance targets should look like at a time like this. The career growth and development opportunities, these ones now are not a priority anymore for organizations. Why? Because they don't want to spend on learning and development. And this is something that I have talked about. They have put a halt on projects that were geared towards development. And now staff growth is actually not a consideration. In fact, if anything, organizations are now trying to do away with a lot of the talent as opposed to trying to grow the talent that they have. In terms of contribution, our effort right now is not directly proportional to sometimes the organizational success. I have met salespeople who are saying, before the pandemic, I would actually just set a target for myself to have 1,000 hits or 100 hits in a month. And I know out of those 100 hits, I'm going to have 50% turnover. 50% of those hits are actually going to return in sales. But right now, they will have those 100 hits, but those 100 hits will actually not reflect to 50% sales. Why? Because even the propensity of the customers to purchase the products and the services has actually gone down. Yeah. And therefore, this could be an issue of demotivation. You're feeling like I'm doing too much, but achieving too little. Yeah. The line manager and the team relationship, somebody has already mentioned, Mercy, that was you. Mercy Mugo mentioned that the line manager and team relationships are hampered by virtual working. I mean, team cohesion has become a problem. I see Kristen has raised the hand. Is there a matter?
Yeah, there is also a point on integrating technology from Mercy Kanyawa. Yeah, so she's saying challenging work processes in integration of technology at the workplace, as some people had had no prior experience with using current technologies in the traditional work setting.
Wow, that's actually a very profound point. Yeah, integration of technology, this has changed, where people could meet and just, I have seen challenges, this is my personal favorite, I have seen challenges in people signing documents, e-signing documents. Why? Because we were used to being in the office where we could sign physical papers, and right now you're being sent a document and you're being told to e-sign, and there are people who don't even know how to go about this. So this is actually a real concern, and it could actually pose a challenge in how engaged your employees are. Yeah, the employee voice. Does the organization have time for employee opinions right now? Do they have time for the employee voice right now? So with all these changes, and we are saying that we have been impacted. So what is our role in fostering employee engagement given these changes? Yeah. What is our role in sustaining? Some of us are in HR, are actively in HR in our organizations. What's your role as a HR person to support employee engagement? Some of you are in leadership or your business owners, whether it's a small business or a big business. Engagement equals productivity. You certainly want to see productivity. How do you ensure that you sustain employee engagement in this area of crisis? And maybe you're neither of the two, you're just an employee. How do you ensure that as an employee, you remain engaged and hence productive even with these changes in the workplace? So with this the group that we have, I will try to address engagement from all those different perspectives so that we can see what exactly is our role. So number one, the leadership sets the stage. Let's just begin with that. The leadership sets the tone and the direction for the organization. Everything starts at the leadership. So the big question here is, how often does the management communicate with its staff? What channels of communications are used? And what exactly is the content of this communication? As leaders, we need to manage the change. We need to be at the forefront of the change. Yeah. So what that means is articulate the changes in leadership, articulate any changes in vision, in strategy, in the focus areas of your organization, in the organization structure, articulate the changes. Make sure that you carry your staff along. I've been seeing so many reorganizations in companies going on, and some of these are hitting the employees as a surprise. People are wondering, they're being caught on their desks with memos that are circulating on notice boards telling them, you know what, we actually are changing the way we are working, we are going agile, no one knows what agile is, or we are doing this other thing, or we are merging with this company, and there is so much uncertainty. The employees don't actually know what is happening. Yeah, avoid too many things happening behind closed doors as a company. Manage the grapevine. Avoid creating anxieties and panic. When you do not include your employees in these changes, there is a lot of anxieties and panic that goes around. Prepare your employees, engage them for any changes and any restructuring. Prepare them. Talk about it prior. And this now comes to the question of the frequency. How often are you meeting? Yeah. If you're doing anything less than quarterly town halls in your company, you are actually going towards not very good. If you're doing anything less than quarterly town halls where the leadership of the company is able to engage with your staff at least on a quarterly basis, and when I say communication, I'm not speaking memos, because memos are a one-way communication. It is you telling them. Have town halls, have staff barazas where staff can actually talk back to the leadership. They can actually communicate and build that culture of openness in communication so that your staff do not feel like they cannot talk back to the leadership of the organization. Assure the employees of its commitment to staff. Some people are wondering, I have been a facilities manager and I have not been told anything. Is my job on the line? Am I going to have this job 2 months, 3 months down the line? Assure your employees. Talk to them over and over. And assure them that, you know what, we are going through a crisis, but our commitment is to our staff. Our commitment is that we shall walk this journey together. I know this time the management of organizations has had to take very drastic actions and decisions. Some of them are decisions where you have required your employees to take a pay cut. Some of them you have had to downsize, which is very much okay because the business has to stay afloat. But carry your employees along. Carry them. Let them understand the restructuring that you're doing. Yeah. So that they are able to actually buy in and remain engaged. Even in families, we have some moments where we are going down financially and we need to take decisions whereby, we are going to do away with some luxuries for a while. But you bring people on board so that they are able to understand this is where we are as an organization, and therefore this is the decision that the management has to take. Of course, things are bound to change, but watch your communication, watch your methods of communication, and watch the timeliness of communication. Timeliness. Let us not hear the communication after the fact. Let your employees not hear about the changes after the fact. Yeah, some employees are actually hearing about restructuring of the organizations in the media. Yeah, this is not appropriate, please. As the organization's leadership, please be sure to communicate and be sure to carry your staff along. There is an opportunity right now for the leadership to display its competency in leading the new workplace, to show its competency and resilience in leading through a crisis. But it is also an opportunity for the leadership to show confusion and lack of understanding. So which side of the divide will you be as a leadership? The next is the HR. The HR has a big role also to play, because when we are talking employee engagement, we are talking about employees, which is the human resources. So the HR team has a big role to play here. What is the role of the HR in improving your internal communication policy? Yeah, guarantee virtual interactions so that people can be consciously connected to their colleagues, to their bosses, to their managers. I have talked of quarterly town halls. If you're doing anything less than that, you're doing badly. That is as an organization. But what about teams? Yeah, for teams, you should have this frequently, even weekly. Virtual interactions, one-on-ones should be encouraged on a daily basis so that people can feel connected. These days when people are working from home, sometimes you can go 3 days, you have not heard anything from your line manager or from your colleague. That is you're losing out on the connection. So HR needs to come up with policies that actually guarantee these interactions are going to take place and collaboration is actually going to continue. It is your job as HR to provide these policies and the tools to facilitate these. Yeah, tools and resources, internet, computers, access to systems. These are just things that are there. Mercy talked about integration of technology. Yeah? There are people who are working from home. They cannot access the company systems. They need VPN. They're not even aware what they need to have. Please enable your staff. HR, this is your job. And I know some HR people who are seated saying, if they are having an issue, they will ask. If somebody is having an issue with technology, they will ask. Be proactive. Don't wait for your team to ask. Don't wait for your team to come to you and say, or somebody to come to you and say, I need. Please be proactive. Anticipate the needs of your team. Do they have internet? I mean, find out from your team. Do a small survey on the tools and resources that your team needs. Make sure that you are enabling them to actually be able to work virtually. Some of them have no access to things like Zoom. They don't even have licenses. They're trying to set up meetings. The meetings are dying down after 40 minutes and they're so frustrated. I mean, facilitate your employees to be able to work virtually. Champion for a real remote culture for your workers. Have a working rhythm. It is the job of HR to guide. You know your job as HR, and I'm a HR professional. Your job as HR is to guide. So how do you guide? You guide by actually showing direction. Champion for a real remote working culture. Champion. Inform your staff that they need to demarcate the working hours. It doesn't have to be 8 to 5, whichever way you have agreed as an organization. It could be 8 to 5. If it's 8 to 5 and somebody is working from home, let them work 8 to 5. If you're a bit flexible, that you can allow for a 7 to 4, you can allow for 6 to 3, you can allow for 9 to 6, whichever way. Please have that demarcated. Demarcating means if it is 8 to 5, you're encouraging your employees to work within those parameters and not somebody calling your employees at 7 o'clock in the evening, still sending them a document, asking them, have you seen that email? Demarcate the working hours. And this is for HR to guide and to champion. Let your staff have a working rhythm. And this also helps in their effectiveness. So that if I'm working from home, I don't wake up at 10 o'clock and that's when I'm starting to work, because that hampers productivity. So if it is, well, it could be 10 o'clock, but it is 10 to what time? So ensure that there is a working rhythm, and it is the work of HR to actually emphasize on this, with emphasis on the deliverables and the outcomes as opposed to the hours worked. It is not just about 8 to 5. It is about what are the deliverables? What have you been seated doing? What are the outcomes of the 8 hours that you have given to the employer today, or the 7 hours based on your company policy? Emphasis on outcomes. And it is the job of HR to ensure that line managers are properly trained to watch out on the outcomes and the deliverables as opposed to the hours of work. Previously, we measured productivity by how much I'm seated behind my working desk. But right now, when working remotely, you cannot see whether I'm seated behind the work desk or not. Yeah. So, because you cannot be able to see that, make sure that as a HR, you're able to guide the line managers. You are able to guide the line managers so that they know how to measure outcomes and deliverables as opposed to hours of work. Yeah. So that even as I'm working from home, there is clear output from my job. How do you measure performance as a line manager when people are working at home? Yeah. Establish meeting patterns. Meeting patterns means don't kill people with meetings. Yeah, sometimes we tend to have so many virtual meetings and people are working remotely. Please, while we are talking interaction and engagement, please have a balance. Yeah, as HR, guide a balance. If possible, have a no meeting day. Have a no meeting day. Say Wednesdays in this company, Wednesdays we do not have meetings across board. So that Wednesdays can be those days when people can actually sit down and do their deliverables and do the actual work. Yeah, it may not be a whole day. You may say Tuesday afternoons is a no meeting afternoon, or Thursday mornings is a no meeting morning. All the way from morning until midday, we will simply not have any meeting on Thursday, to allow people also to just come back to themselves. And they're not running around joining Zooms all over the place, because also these online meetings can be very fatiguing. Have rigorous onboarding processes to new employees. Right now, the virtual working space is not the same. So if I'm coming from KCB and I'm going to Equity, induct me rigorously, onboard me very well, and ensure that during the onboarding process, have an interaction. Much as we are working virtually, you know, right now somebody is being interviewed virtually. They are interviewed on Zoom all through. They are hired on Zoom, onboarded on Zoom, and they start to work virtually. They have absolutely no connection to the company. They have never stepped into the premises of that company. They have never met anyone in that company face to face. You have already started off on a wrong note. Please, even when we are doing virtual, when you're onboarding HR, have that person come to the office physically on the first day or the second or the third, at least within the first week. Let them come to the premises, show them around, let them already feel like they're part and parcel of this family that is the organization. Yeah. Let them meet with their supervisor face to face, at least for the first or the second day. Yeah. And I know some of you are working in distributed teams where you're working here, your direct report is in Canada, the other one is in Malaysia, the other one is in Europe. You know what? Have somebody in that office, meet them. If I'm recruiting somebody and that person is in Rwanda, Kigali, yeah, let me reach out to somebody in Kigali and say, I have just recruited this person, even if they're not in the same department. I have recruited this person. Kindly, have a coffee somewhere with this person so that you can just bring them up to speed on who we are, so that this person on the other side can already feel that warmth and sense of belonging to a company. So please, let's have a balance. Don't just do everything online so that somebody has zero connection, zero interaction with the company. No. Institute employee support systems. Very important. In fact, this should have been my first point on HR. Institute employee support systems, counseling, coaching, mentorship. Very important. Very important. People are dealing with remote working challenges differently. They're facing different challenges, and they're dealing with it differently. Please have a support program. Have a support program. Have a support mechanism. Connect them to a counselor. Have that counselor that can counsel your staff on an ongoing basis. Who, if I am overwhelmed, I can reach out to them. Have coaches. Yeah. Professional coaches. If you do not have these ones in-house, reach out to some of them and have your staff having that access to professional coaches or mentors, please. Because some of them are dealing with things in remote working that are affecting their engagement that you do not know about. Employee engagement surveys, this one I will not belabor. Why? Because it's a whole broad topic on itself. We actually, as Delive Consulting, support employee engagement surveys. And the magic in employee engagement surveys is in how you design them. How you design the questions. You can design the questions in such a way that they give you very insightful feedback. And then you have an action plan on how to act on the feedback that you have received, so that you do not become the organization that always does surveys but never implements anything. Let me move very fast because I can see that the time is quite spent. The line managers provide an engaging environment for the staff to thrive. Line managers, remember that you have a big role to play when it comes to employee engagement. Why? Because you're the first line HR manager to the staff. Our lives literally revolve around the line managers. So establish clear goals and prioritize tasks. Please set very clear goals. When there is unclear goals, stress levels shoot up. Why? Because I don't even know what I'm working towards. Yeah. Make clear goals and prioritize. Tell your staff, I want you to work on this, then this, then this. This is what is more important. So that I do not start to work on something and you're asking for something else. Please ensure that you establish clear goals and prioritize the tasks. Sustain good relationships with each employee. Don't use one employee as a channel to reach all. I know managers who just call one staff and then they tell this one staff, tell everybody. If you're going to do that, make sure that today you call me, tomorrow you call the other one, tomorrow you call the other one, tomorrow the other one. So that you're not always talking to one person and you're losing out on the rest. Yeah. So maintain good relationships with each one. Have daily check-ins with each of your staff, at least just a phone call or a message with each of your staff. And this, of course, means that as HR, you need to take care of the span of control. Because if a line manager has over 10 people they are taking care of, actually more than 7, it will be hectic for them to do these calls. But if they have a smaller span of control, 4 or 5 people, it's possible to do it. And as a manager, what that means is also for you, delegate as much as possible, empower your teams as much as possible so that you have good enough time to actually take care of the engagement of the team. Serve as a sounding board for your employees' feedback and suggestions. Be there to tell them you're on the right track or not. And you can only do this by daily check-ins. The value of recognition for individual and team performance. Recognition is not reward. I will repeat, because line managers, when you tell them recognize employee performance, they tell you I have no budget. No, recognize, recognize, recognize. Send emails and say you have done well to the individual, to the team, and all that. Make employee growth and development your business. Please prioritize. If your employees feel stagnated, they will be disengaged. So kindly make employee development a priority for you. Challenge them and tell them, this month I want you to go for a training. It could be one sponsored by DLive. Tell them you want them to go for a training. Why? Because you want them to upskill. Foster supportive co-worker relationships. Support co-worker relationships. Create teams that work. Don't isolate people. Don't have favorites. Yeah. Be very keen and deliberate on setting the right tempo and momentum for your teams. Keep your staff informed. Weekly meetings, we have talked about this, in small groups where you're not only talking to your employees, but you're giving them an opportunity to talk back to you. Finally, as the employees, provide honest, candid, and actionable feedback about what is and isn't working. Let us also take a responsibility as employees to be engaged. Let us not just sit there and allow ourselves to be disengaged because the conditions are not favorable for us. Provide honest feedback to your management. Brainstorm on solutions that address your concerns. You could be having concerns on remote working. Maybe it's the technology. Maybe it's the internet. Maybe it's even in the performance targets. They're not clear to you anymore. Please come up with solutions to your concerns and present this to your boss. Don't just be a heckler who talks about the problems, who says we don't even have internet these days, we don't have this, we don't have that. Kindly be the one who comes up with solutions on your performance and development. Your performance is about you. So if you're lacking the tools and resources to perform well, please ask. Be the one to voice and tell your organization, I need this. I need you to facilitate me in this manner so that I can perform well. Development. If your boss forgets to ask you to go and get trained somewhere, please be on the lookout for trainings such as these ones so that you can give yourself a chance to interact with the industry, a chance to interact with other people. Make every day a learning day. You never lose when you go for any training. There are so many free webinars even on LinkedIn these days that are there. There are some that are paid for. The investment is small, 1,000, 2,000. Please sponsor yourself or get your organization to sponsor you so that you're continuously learning. If you stagnate, they say still waters sip in, yeah, they sink. If you stand at one point, you sink, you go down. So please ensure that you're on a continuous development journey. If 90 days go past and you have not attended that training as an employee, you're doing badly. And very soon you will start being disengaged. Why? Because when you go somewhere and learn something, you go back to your team and try to implement it. And then you start to see growth, and that motivates you and keeps you engaged. And by the time that you're done with that information, you have also attended another training and gotten some more upskilling, and the cycle continues. Engage in meaningful relationships with your teams and managers. Please make this also your effort as an employee. Reach out to a member of staff. Don't complete a whole day and you have not even made a phone call. Get used to phone calls, not email all the time. And have a no meeting day also for yourself if possible. For me, there are days when I tell myself in Friday afternoons, I do not do a meeting at all on Friday afternoon, so that I can just refocus my mind and review my week and see what I have been able to achieve in terms of deliverables and what is still pending. So finally, for those of us who are going to go out of here and start running engagement programs and championing for employee engagement in their offices, especially HR and the managers, the line managers here, please, engagement is a long-term game. So stick at it. You will start with a few initiatives, stick at it. Gain leadership buy-in. If you're not in the leadership, gain the leadership buy-in. Tell them that engagement equals productivity. That one is a proven fact. When people are engaged, discretionary effort goes up, and therefore it just gives you productivity. Employee performance goes up, and therefore the company performance goes up. So get their buy-in so that they can be able to walk this journey with you. To engage your teams, first engage your managers. If you're in the leadership, begin with engaging the managers, and then it can trickle down to employees because we turn from the top. Understand the issues. Find out what the engagement drivers for your organizations are. I know they may not be the same across board. So find out in your organization what drives engagement and then focus on those few priorities. Focus your efforts. Actually, that's my next point, on the priority issues and priority populations. Sometimes we have one department that is very highly engaged because they have such good leadership in that department, but we have another one that is not highly engaged. So focus on those priority populations where engagement is very low. Bring an engaging style into your daily work. Your daily work in itself should be engaging. You should be the type that calls people more often than you email them. You should be the type that reaches out to them on WhatsApp. You should be the type that does check-in. Yeah, bring an engaging style into your daily work. You should be the type that collaborates. You should be the type that asks for opinions from other people if you're a manager, so that other staff can actually help you in decision making. Get inspiration from collaboration with colleagues. Ask other people, how are you doing it? Ask other managers, ask your colleagues, how are you doing it? How are you surviving in this remote working environment? Get inspiration from them. Attend webinars like these ones where you will learn a thing or two. Pay attention to the details. Do not ignore the subtle messages from your team. If you call somebody once, they don't pick, second time they don't pick, please do not ignore that. There could be an issue. There could be a challenge that they're facing as regards their remote working, and inspire others by making an impact. Be the one to champion change. Please be the one to start at the forefront. You could just be a team member. Start by engaging people. Start by asking them, can we brainstorm on this subject? Can we brainstorm about this client? We are unable to reach this client. Can we brainstorm? Be the one that is collaborative and begins to change and create the impact in the organization. So I would like to pause here and ask if there are any questions and comments from the chat section, and also you are allowed, I think, to raise your hand. Christine will guide us. Employee engagement is one of those topics that is very, very wide, and at some later stage we'll be conducting a training on the employee engagement surveys and how to design them and how to make them impactful. So if you're in HR, this is something that may interest you. So let me see if there are any questions that we can answer, Christine.
Yeah, so there are a few questions. So before I go to the questions, there's one comment from Purity on mental health. So Purity says that most employers have not taken into account the effect of the crisis on the mental health of the employees working from home, and hence the workforce is frustrated. Yeah. So basically, maybe the question is how should employers ensure that their employees are mentally healthy? Like what should they put in place? Is it counseling at workplace, or maybe you can answer that?
Yeah. That's a very legitimate concern. And we have talked about employee support programs. You can never underestimate what your employees are going through. Remote working is not the same for everybody. Yeah, so you can never underestimate, and that's why we talk of counseling, coaching, and mentorship. Some of us just need mentorship. I just simply don't know how to do it. It could be that I'm just struggling with with the technology, as Mercy mentioned. I'm just struggling with the technology and I just need a little bit of hand holding so that I don't get frustrated. Some of it needs a little bit of counseling. There are family issues and personal issues that are tying into the productivity of the staff. So as an organization, please institute these programs in place. Number one, you can get a counselor professionally and circulate their contact. You know, once you just put a counselor on your payroll, and this counselor is working elsewhere, but once you can actually engage a counselor, you just tell the staff this is the person to reach out to in case you need counseling. So if the staff feels overwhelmed, they directly engage the counselor, or they directly engage a coach, or they directly engage a mentor. Then I would like to tell organizations, coaching works. Coaching works. People need coaching. So please get some in-house coaching. Train people to be coached. Train 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of your employees, depending on the size of your organization, to be professional coaches so that they can coach your staff through this crisis. And if you're an employee, you're there, your organization does not have these support programs, please remember that your mental health comes above everything else. So reach out for help and assistance as opposed to just sitting there and trying to weather through it.
Okay, another question is from Lilian Musau. So Lilian is asking, how do you describe the leadership model employers and managers should use to their employees?
The leadership, we have so many different types of models that people use to lead, and this really depends on the nature of the organization that you are engaged in, and also the size of the organization that you're engaged in. But what we emphasize is interaction. Let the leadership interact as much as possible with them. Don't have that divide where you have leadership side A and the employee side B. Let there be a lot of interaction. What we are saying is there is a lot that the leadership has to benefit from engaging with the employees. Remember, these are your frontline workers. They're the ones who are at the front of engaging with the customers. As the leader, you don't know everything. You don't even have monopoly of knowledge. In fact, your staff have more information and knowledge than you. So engage. It is to the benefit of the organization. So whether you're working in highly distributed teams, whether your team is so big, I know there are some companies that are over 1,500 employees just in Kenya, and I'm looking at places, of course, like banks, and they're largely distributed. So you find the CEO is seated very far away. Still, make sure that there is interaction. Have those town halls. And from a smaller scale, have even smaller interactions between the leadership and the teams, so that there can be proper engagement.
There's another question from Katende. Katende is asking, how well can employee trainings be restructured to encourage employee engagement, factoring in remote working?
Thank you so much, Katende, for that question. That is my personal favorite. Learning and development is my area of specialty, and training is core to my heart. So you're asking, how can these initiatives be structured how can these initiatives be structured so that they are actually beneficial to the employee and they foster engagement? First of all, when it comes to training, just get the right person for the job. That's how I will begin. Get the right person for the job. Virtual training is not the same as face-to-face training. I am a trainer and I have seen this. There are some trainers that I have worked with who are very good in delivery face-to-face. But when it comes to virtual, it's a miss. So please, as a training manager or a HR manager who is trying to procure training for their teams, first of all, engage with the trainer virtually before they can engage with your team, so that you're sure you're making the right decision. Number 2, embrace e-learning. E-learning is really working at a time like this. So we have very good e-learning platforms all over the place. I have used a few. I will not mention them so that it doesn't look like I am marketing them, but we have some very good e-learning platforms where you have courses uploaded in there and your staff can engage from anywhere where they are, and these are actually self-paced, so they are good for your staff because then I can do them at any time. But you will still need this kind of them, these ones where you do them on Zoom, so that you can interact all of you at the same time. Make sure that they're interactive and you get the best person for the job. But bottom line is, ensure that your staff are being trained. Please do not lose out. I mentioned e-learning because it is a more cost-effective method to train. I know right now most organizations do not want to invest full-blown, so e-learning is a good one to make sure that you're continuously upskilling. And even this kind of virtual training is good because it's also cheaper than what we used to do, because previously we could take people to a hotel, we pay for their food and all that. Right now all those costs are cut down, so you're only going to be paying consultancy fee, which is more affordable. So kindly please continue to have the training, but more so as a training manager. This is a training we will have also later. As a training manager, kindly make sure that you're focusing on the impact, not just the training program, but the impact. And when you start to show your leadership, your organization's leadership, the impact of the training and the value, the return on investment, then they will be more willing to sponsor you and to give you a budget for learning and development.
I think the last question is from Esther Okoti. She's asking, for new joiners, how does one maximize on the development from team members, especially early career beginners?
Okay. How to maximize on the development for team members.
For new team members.
New team members, okay. So I understand this question in two ways. New joiners, how does one maximize on the development from team members when you are an early beginner? If you are starting out in your career at this time, you're joining a company fresh, you are an early beginner, please find out what opportunities for learning and development that there are. Just directly reach out to HR, reach out to your buddy. And I say reach out to several people, Don't just reach out to your line manager, because sometimes line managers are also not aware of the programs that are in place. So reach out to your line manager, to HR, ask them what opportunities of learning development do we have in this organization, so that you can take advantage. Sometimes we sit there and yet the organization is willing to actually sponsor us for training. Or maybe there is a training happening somewhere, but you're not even aware. So first of all, reach out and find out. And what can you be sponsored for? I know some organizations will say, oh, for a new joiner, we have this kind of budget, these limits. Please utilize optimally. Secondly, if you cannot get these opportunities in-house, maximize on the job learning. On the job learning is free. Maximize on mentorship. Identify mentors within that organization who can handhold you through your career journey. Also, that is free. Secondly, look out for free training programs like this ones. And I can tell you there are so many. There's so many of them. Go to LinkedIn, you will be surprised. Go to e-learning. I can tell you for sure, like the IBM Digital Nation platform has a lot of technical training that is free of charge. So please do not sit there and feel as though you have no options. Learn. Have your own trajectory that you're looking at. Have a plan. Set goals for yourself and tell yourself, every month I will attend a webinar. Or 2, every month I will make sure that I attend a webinar, and be on the lookout for this. Subscribe to some of these platforms. Check out, for example, if you check out the DeLife Consulting website, it has all our upcoming programs. So make sure you're checking out for this. Glean also from learnings from your team members. Team members have different strengths, so be mentored. Accept to be mentored and be coached by your team members. Secondly, also handhold someone, mentor someone. We also learn by knowledge sharing. So also mentor someone. And by mentoring someone, you also get to learn from them. I hope I have answered your question, Esther.
Yes. So I think that's it with the questions. I see people commenting, say thank you very much. That was very enriching. The training was quite informative. So thank you, Karen. Don't have any more questions. It's just people thanking you in the comment section. So we also want to thank you so much for attending this training. And thank you, Karen, for such an insightful training and an insightful discussion on engaging employees. This is DeLife Consulting. Karen is our HR HR consultant and training specialist. I'm a business developing and training specialist as well. So for more information, kindly go to our website or contact us directly using our email. I've put the email on the chat. So we offer several, we also offer leadership training. We offer training on change management. We offer training on communication. We offer a range of training services. So if you want to, benefit from our trainings, you can contact us. And we offer free webinars and also paid webinars. So the next webinar, I think we'll offer on change management. So stay tuned and share with your network regarding our webinars, our free webinars, so that you can come and interact with us and also learn from us. And also our sister company, we have a sister company that also offers, is an education consultancy that offers career counseling services. We offer admission to universities abroad and scholarship applications and all that. So we can also give you details about that. So thank you for your contribution. I think we can appreciate, Karen, just go to the next slide for Hall of Fame. Yeah, so we want to appreciate people who have, we want to appreciate you guys for attending and also for your participation. So the most participative member I've picked from the chat, I think all of you have participated, and thank you so much. But I've picked one person, that is Katende. I think Katende participated quite well. And also, yeah, we can clap for him. And also the most punctual member is Selam Awit. Selam was here before everyone else. So thank you, Selam. Thank you, Katende. Thank you, everyone. Biggest contributor, I know most of you have contributed in this session, but let me appreciate Mercy Nyawanga for your contributions and for your insightful comments. So thank you so much. Just project our details, Karen. So this is our details. You can contact us on mobile or even on email for more information. Is there anything you want to add, Karen?
Thank you everyone for joining in. Please, after this, go and set up an action plan for yourself. You need to ask yourself, what will I do differently with the knowledge that I have received? It could be one or two things. Kindly set yourself up on an engagement journey and be deliberate about it. Apart from that, I think everything else has been mentioned by Christine. Please reach out to us. Our contacts are shared on your screen right now. Reach out to us, email us. We would like to support you. We would like to support your organizations. It could be in areas of HR consulting. It also could be in areas of training. This training that we have done here is just a brief, because we only had 1 hour, so we couldn't go beyond. But employee engagement is broad, and we do it in a 3-hour, 4-hour session. So kindly, people in HR, go and reach out to your HR teams and tell them that you need your line managers to be trained on engagement. You need your staff to be trained on engagement. You need your HR teams to be trained on engagement, and reach out to DLive. Apart from engagement, we train even on conducting the surveys. We train on performance management, a very key area at such a time as this. How do you ensure that your performance management is outcome-based, deliverable-based, as opposed to those other things that we used to do in the past? How do you monitor targets when people are working remotely? All those things are services that we provide. How do you manage talent? How do you develop your talent in a crisis? So come and let us learn. The only constant thing is change. And even after this pandemic, we are going to have more change coming up. So we'll always be in a moment of change. So do not struggle alone in your organization. We will support you. Reach out to myself, reach out to Christine. We have a big team behind us that is supporting us even in putting together the material and in delivering it. Kindly be our partners. Vouch for us out there. We want to believe we have done very excellent client service. You have not wasted your time. So welcome again and again, and refer your friends. Thank you so much.